What's up, sports bettors? Celtics Bucks live. Giannis already straight cooking with 17 points. But what I'm zoned in on is the best bets for the other NBA games. So we have Grizzlies Warriors later tonight. The Grizzlies are pretty massive underdogs, best offered at plus 310 odds on my bookie. And then we have Suns Mavs, game 7, coming up on Sunday. So I'm going to be looking at the best bets for game 7 of Suns versus Mavs. You can see the Mavericks are currently roughly plus 200, plus 220 underdogs. And again, if you want to get the best picks, you want to look at injury data, all of it's on OddsJam. We're publishing our best picks from our experts on a daily basis. So make sure to check out our NBA page and all of the articles that we're writing. So anyways, let's get into it. Suns Mavs, game 7, what the best bets are. Sportsbooks have started to post player prop odds for Mavs Suns, and there's two early bets that I really like. Both are in the player assists market. So the first bet I really like is Finney Smith under 1.5 assists minus 150. You can see that this bet is a low hold, a 0% low hold to Caesars. Caesars is giving you plus 150 on the over. We can get the under minus 150 on FanDuel. So a lot of value if we go into Finney Smith. You can see, where is it? The under is minus 150 on FanDuel, best price, minus 195 on Pinnacle, minus 190 on DraftKings, minus 180 on Caesars. So a ton of value on FanDuel, right? This is why it's so critical to have multiple sportsbooks as a sports bettor. You will not be successful if you are placing bets at minus 190 when there's another sportsbook in your state, FanDuel, giving you minus 150, right? It just makes sense. It's just logical. This is why it's so critical to have multiple sportsbooks as a sports bettor. So a ton of value on FanDuel and Finney Smith under 1.5 assists, minus 150. So we're going to go ahead and we'll lock this bet in. So where are you, Finney Smith? And then we'll add it to our OddsJam bet tracker. So I try to bet 250. They're like, nah, we're only giving you 149.9. And I'll hit that and then go ahead and add it to my OddsJam bet tracker. So the profit margin of this bet, the EV, the edge of this bet is 2.56%. So 2.56%, mathematically profitable, positive expected value bet for game 7. So we'll go back here, and then I'll add it to my bet tracker. 149.9 on Finney Smith, under 1.5 assists, minus 150. So there we go. And then I'll add it to my sheet of bets today. So Finney Smith, under 1.5 assists. We staked. What was our stake? Our exact stake was 149.90, and this bet had a profit margin of 2.56%. So 149.90. 2.56%. So to find out the profit margin of your bet in dollars quantified mathematically, you just take the EV percentage, multiply it by your stake, and you get the profit margin in dollars. So that's the first bet we're locking in. Finney Smith under 1.5 assists, minus 150. Then we're also going to be fading Brunson under 3.5 assists, minus 148 odds on FanDuel. So if we go down to Brunson, we can see right here, again, ton of value on FanDuel. Minus 170 on Caesars, minus 180 on DraftKings, minus 189 on Pinnacle. Right here, the sharpest sportsbook in the world, and we can get minus 148 on FanDuel. So again, a ton of value on FanDuel, another positive expected value bet. In the player assist market, those are currently the only two positive expected value profitable bets for Mavs Suns. There will probably be plenty more, right? The sports betting market is dynamic. Odds are always changing. Players are getting injured. Sharp action is coming in. Just like the price of a stock constantly ticking around, sportsbooks are constantly moving odds, right? That's why it's so critical to have sports betting software like OddsJam to constantly be scanning all of these player prop odds for you to try to find you the few bets that are actually mathematically profitable. So this bet, it looks like they're going to take more on. Try to bet 350, and they're like, you get 295.9. Don't know why there's such a big difference in max stake between these two bets, but we'll go ahead and we'll lock it in. 295.9, and this is on Brunson under 3.5 assists. So 295.9 is our stake. Boom, and we'll add it to our bet tracker. So now we have Brunson under 3.5 assists. 295.9 was our stake. And then the EV percentage was 2.02%. So not a ton of EV in these bets, still enough to lock in. 598 in profit margin on that bet. So our two bets have a total profit margin mathematically of roughly $10 in EV. Pretty happy with them. Added them both to my bet tracker. Again, the reason you want to add bets to your bet tracker is you want to know if you're beating the closing line consistently. So what I like to do is with, all my bets on FanDuel for a given day. So today, lots of bets on FanDuel, strikeouts, whatever. Marcus Smart, run lines, all different types of bets currently out there. I want to make sure I'm beating the closing line, right? Beating the closing line consistently is really all that matters in terms of making money sports betting long term. You're not always going to be able to beat the closing line, but you want to be beating the closing line, which is indicated in green. You got better odds than the closing line consistently, right? The majority of your bets need to beat the closing line. So if we actually go here, another number I like to look at in my dashboard, again, the OddsJam bet tracker is 100% free. Obviously, I want a high net profit, but you want to look at your beat CLV percentage. You need this number to be above 50% to actually make money betting on sports long term. If you're not beating the closing line over 50% of the time, you are screwed from the get-go. So you want a positive ROI, you want a positive net profit, get this number as high as possible. Above 60% is pretty good. The best can get it above 70%. Some even, sometimes for brief periods of time, 80%. So get this number as high as possible and your ROI and net profit will follow. Closing line is all that matters. Closing line value is all that matters in terms of making money betting on sports long term. There's tons of articles on that. So what we can do is we can go back to the EV page, positive EV page, and we can run through the sports betting math briefly of one of these bets. So we can see that the sharpest sportsbook out there has Finney Smith under 1.5 assists at minus 195. So we're getting 45 cents of improvement to Pinnacle Sportsbook, the sharpest line out there. We're getting 45 cents of improvement on FanDuel. So a ton of value. So we can take Pinnacle's market and devig it, remove the juice from the market to get an indication of the fair odds for this bet. So we'll go here, we'll go to a no-vig odds calculator. I think it was now I already forgot, minus 198 plus 140, something like that. Minus 195 plus 142. So we'll go back here, minus 195 plus 142. We'll plug that into a zero vega odds calculator, remove the juice. So the fair line on this bet is minus 160, and we picked it up, minus 150 right here, right? So we are getting better odds than the zero vig true odds, the devigged market, the fair line, the true line, whatever you want to call it, from Pinnacle, right? So Pinnacle's model is spitting out that the fair line for Finney Smith under 1.5 assists is minus 160. And then they're adding vig to their market, which is how all sportsbooks make money. So what we're doing is we're saying, wow, we're getting minus 150. We're beating the true line from Pinnacle, the sharpest bookmaker out there. This bet is positive expected value. That is a bet that I want to lock in. So I went ahead and locked in these two bets. Really like them both. Everything in terms of sports betting is about getting the best possible line, right? You're never going to be able to win every bet. Nobody wins every bet. So if you want to make money betting on sports long term, you need to be getting the best possible prices and finding bets that actually have an edge mathematically. Otherwise, you're just gambling. And I'm gambling too. But anyways, so best bets for Suns Mavs. We got two here. I'm sure I'll have plenty more. I'm excited for this game 7. Hopefully, Giannis can demolish the Celtics tonight. I got a future bet on the Bucks, and let's make some money.